Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly appreciate it, and I'm happy to be back. I missed you guys the last couple of weeks. Let me explain shortly and quickly. So, a couple weeks ago, it was Father's Day weekend. You know how I love my kids. I mentioned them, the three amigos, at the end of every show. So they convinced me, hey, it's Father's Day weekend. Take a little time. Let's go out. Let's do some stuff. So we did our Father's Day thing. So happy belated Father's Day to all of the dads out there, whether you're biological dad or you're not the biological dad, whatever it is, you're taking care of somebody's kids, you're helping them out, you're teaching them, you're mentoring. Happy belated Father's Day to you. So I was able to go ahead and do that. And then I was also convinced to take a couple of weeks off and just chill. So I get my little summer solstice, if you will. And so now I'm back. The 800 Credit Score Man Show is back, and I'll be back every Saturday, 1:30 Central Standard Time, 2:30 on the East Coast. So glad I got that out the way. And you know, I always have a bunch of shout outs every week, and I missed a couple of weeks, so there should be 1,000,000 shout outs. I'm not going to do that to y'all. I'm going to throw some out there today, and I'm going to go through them rather quickly, but I'm not going to kill y'all with all the shout outs on this afternoon either. So again, thank you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. It is truly my pleasure and honor to come to you every Saturday, 1:30 Central Standard Time. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to discuss a little bit about ways to improve your credit. So I'm going to give you some tips on improving your credit. Some say that these are tips that would be help you improve your credit quickly, like in the next 6 months, in the next 7, 8, 9 months. And some of these things, of course, you have heard them. Show's been on for over 2 years at this point. So we've covered the gamut from everything from how to improve your credit, how to come back from bankruptcy, what to do when you're dealing with collections, this, that, and the other. We've done all of those kinds of shows. And so today you'll hear some of the things that you may have heard before, but you need to stay tuned and stay listening, because there might be something in here that you pick up. I always try to drop a little pearl that maybe you've never heard before, or I say it in a different way and it actually clicks with you. So we're going to discuss those 6 things. Before I go ahead and do that, I'm going to give one shout out, because today is this man's birthday. So Thomas Agnew, happy birthday to you, Thomas Agnew. He is one part of who I call the cavalry. So happy birthday to you, Thomas Agnew. And on last Wednesday, George Crawford celebrated a birthday. That's my Sands number 9, my front of the 14 Nights of Kappa Alpha Psi. So I want to say happy birthday to you, Sands, as well. So let's get into these ways that you can improve your credit. So I've talked to you before and told you that, you can improve your credit by making sure that you pay your bills on time. So let's get that one out of the way. You got to pay your bills on time, never 30 days late. So yes, if you're 1 day late, fine. You're 5, 10 days late, cool. You might have to pay the penalty for being late, whatever that charge is, but it's not going to be reported on your credit report as a late payment. So that's what you're trying to avoid at all costs, is any negative information hitting your credit report. So since we're talking about payments, make sure you make those payments on time before they hit 30 days. And if you wind up being 30 days late, don't just throw your hands up and say, oh man, I already, took that hit on my credit report, and not pay for 60 days, because that's going to be reported again and will detrimentally hurt your credit score. So you can see yourself falling 30, 40, 50, 60 points. If in terms of a mortgage, sometimes it's 100 points, and you don't want to do that, not at all, because it's hard to gain those points back once you've made that mistake initially. So you're going to make your payments on time, right? So then I want you to do this. If you are one of those people that are into rewards cards, you want to get all the reward points you can, because you're going to use those points to go on a trip, buy some airline tickets, or whatever it is you're going to do. If you're one of those people, then pick the card that's good for you. I'm not saying go out and get every card out there that has some kind of reward. It might help you here, it might help you there. Do a little research, and there's plenty of research out there about reward cards, because everybody's doing it. So do a little research, see which one is the best. Look at where you shop, look at the things that you buy, places that you go, and see if that particular reward card is beneficial for you on the scale that you like to use it. And you're going to take that one card, use that one card, because a lot of people will do this. If you're going to use that card so you can get those rewards, and charge all of the things that you would normally pay for in cash or with your debit card, use that one card to do that. You can do that on a monthly basis. But the thing is, at the end of the month, you need to make sure that you pay that card off. So when the bill comes, make sure you go ahead and pay it off. Now, I want you to track it as well. So if you're doing that, I want you to track it. When you pay your credit card bill, pay the bill, take a look at your account, make sure it's posted to your account. But then also, in a couple of days, I want you to go back and look at that account once again. Make sure that the account is reflective of what's going on. Then you want to go ahead and check your credit report. Now, you can't get it from www.annualcreditreport.com on a weekly basis. You can only get that once a year on a 12-month rolling basis. But what you can do is sign up for one of the free places that allow you to look at your credit report. So I want you to go look at your credit report to track it and make sure that it's being reflected correctly. So if you do it 7 days later, to see if you're using someone like Credit Karma who says they report every 7 days, go look at that one. If you're looking at somebody else like Credit.com, I believe they report every 2 weeks or maybe even just once a month. Go and look at that one and see if it's being reflected. I want you to go on there often to take a look at it, because what you want to do is try to figure out, when does the change come? What day of the month does the change come? Or what day of the week does the change come for you, so you can go ahead and track it on a daily, on a monthly basis to make sure that it's being reflected. So you want to do that to make sure that the card is being paid off and it's being reflected on your credit report. Now, if you've got big balance and then it comes down, that's going to be good for you in terms of other things as well. So your debt utilization, things like that, it'll be good for you if it's being reflected. And that's one of the other reasons I want you to go ahead and keep looking at it, because it may hurt you if it's not reflecting correctly. So if you spend $3,500 of your $4,000 balance on a monthly basis, and then every month on your credit report it shows you have a balance of $3,500, never gets down to that zero or that under that 30% at all, then it could be hurting your credit score. Now, if you go about your business, you've got a good credit score as it is already, and you go about your business like this, then it's perfectly fine. But when it comes time for you to get something, especially something that may cost you a lot of money, a car or a home, then you want to make sure that you keep those balances low. Maybe you kind of back up off that reward card and you don't use it on a monthly basis like you have been. You'll already have gotten all the points and all the gains that you can get, but then you may want to pull back on it a little bit so it doesn't hurt you with in terms of your credit score and your debt utilization when it comes to you applying for that mortgage. You want to get all the points that you can. So if you have that debt utilization under 30%, close to zero, you're going to get the most points possible for this particular category. So make sure that you follow these things and take a look at them. Got it? Got it? Good. All right, so that's all I got to say about that particular part. Let me throw a couple more shout outs in between here. So I got to give a big shout out to Bobby and Fatia Terrell. They celebrated a wedding anniversary last week, I believe. So they celebrate their wedding anniversary. I got to give a big shout out to Dorian and Ashley Jenkins. They celebrated a 4th wedding anniversary, I believe, and it's actually on the same day as Dorian's birthday. So happy anniversary and happy birthday to you, Dorian. Smart man. He's never going to forget his anniversary. And if Ashley is a smart woman, she's going to make that combination with the gift. So she's going to make sure that the wedding gift is also the birthday gift, and the birthday gift is also the wedding gift. So happy anniversary and happy birthday to you. And Brandon and Rhonda Nicholson, happy 15th anniversary for you guys as well. Brandon and Rhonda were in my wedding umpteen years ago. So both of them as a couple, they were in our wedding. So happy anniversary to you, Brandon and Rhonda Nicholson. All right, so let's jump back into some things that's going to help you improve your credit score. Now, one of my favorite things is for you to associate yourself with someone with good, excellent credit, right? So one of my favorite things. Now, how do you do that? You're going to become an authorized user. So you're going to become an authorized user. Some people recently, and I talk about this all the time, but recently people have been asking me questions about authorized user. I figure as much as I talk about it, you know everything about it and how it's going to work for you. So as an authorized user, you're going to go to somebody, preferably a relative, someone that's close with you. Somebody lives in the same house, great. If that's your spouse and they have really good credit and you don't have so good credit, become an authorized user on one of their credit cards. Here's what I like to do. I like to tell to my clients, if you're going to become an authorized user with somebody, make sure, one, that the card that you're going on actually reports to the credit bureau. Make sure that they report to all 3 credit bureaus. So you can give them a call simply and ask them, do you report to all 3 credit bureaus? Or the person that's holding the card can look at their credit report and they can see, yes, it's reporting to this, that one, and the other. So you want to make sure that it's reporting to all 3 credit bureaus. Then secondly, you want to make sure that it's a card with a long-standing positive history. So preferably, they've never been late. They've never had a late payment on this particular credit card at all. I would like for it to be over 7 years old. If it's over 10 years, even better. If it's a 15-year card, even better. It doesn't matter if you're doing this for your 18-year-old and you've had the card 18 years. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. They're going to get all the full benefit for the entire time that you've had the card. So associate yourself with someone that has that excellent credit. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to call the credit card company, and the person that's holding the card needs to call the credit card company and say, yes, I would like Mr. Smith to go ahead and be a part of my credit card. I want to make him an authorized user. So you're going to do that. Then Mr. Smith is going to get his own card in his own name. Now, you don't have to give Mr. Smith this card. He does not have to hold it. He doesn't have to use it. You guys make that determination between yourselves. You don't have to give them that card. You can hold on to that card yourself. Just make sure you activate it, and then it'll go on his credit reports. Now, you want to check and verify. Look at your credit report. Make sure that it does show up. And then when it shows up on your credit report, make sure that it reports from the date that it opened originally. Not the date you became an authorized user, the date that the card originally opened. So if that was in 1990, make sure that it says 1990. Make sure it reflects the correct limit. So if the limit on that particular card is $5,000, you need to say $5,000, and then it should have the correct balance on there as well. So preferably, also, when it comes to this balance portion we're talking about, just like anything else, you want to have that debt utilization down to 30% or less. That's where you start getting the more points. Now, it doesn't necessarily hurt you. It's actually probably more beneficial to become the authorized user and have a positive account on your credit report than to have the debt utilization part. But with debt utilization being 30% of your credit score, you want to make sure that you get there too. So if it's got a $5,000 balance, a $5,000 limit on it, then you want to make sure that 30% of the balance is 30% or less. And I think that's somewhere around $1,500 or so. So you want to make sure that it's down there. If it's not, it's perfectly fine. Person uses it a little bit or whatever. That's perfectly fine. Your score is just not going to be as good. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You being an authorized user, showing that you have years and years of positive payments on a credit card on your credit report will be much more beneficial for you. And eventually, hopefully, then that card will get down to less than 30%, but that's going to help you. So that's one of my favorite things, and that's something that you want to do. You want to make sure that you go ahead and associate yourself, tie yourself to somebody that has a good credit history when it comes to that card. Now listen to this. Now overall, you're thinking, or maybe the person that you're asking to be associated with is thinking they don't really have that good credit or what have you. They've messed up here or there in the past. You don't have to be associated, and you're not being associated with everything that they have. You're not combining your credit together on every single thing that they've ever had or open accounts that they have now. Just the one particular card that you become an authorized user on. That's the only one that you're being associated with. So you don't have to worry about the rest of their credit. They don't have to worry about the rest of their credit as well. They're not taking anything on from you. So they're not taking any of your bad credit, anything that you've had trouble with, and it's being placed on their credit report. That's not what's happening. So you don't have to worry about that particular part at all. But associate yourself with someone is going to help your credit score tremendously. But I can't stress enough that you need to make sure that it actually reports to the credit bureau. I've had a client, we had her